Before we get into today's subject matter, I want to let you all know that I have started Storybox memberships. The link for that is available in the show description to make it easy for you guys to sign up. It just means that for those that want to support more, you can. And also, I'll be doing a special video at the end of each week. If you want to ask me a question, you can ask me a question. I'll be more than happy to answer it during the special video for members only. But keep in mind that I'll still be doing the 3 videos a day for you all. For anyone that hasn't subscribed to being a member, it's just something extra that I decided to do, and the YouTube offers. So I'm like, why not? May as well do that and give some people that want a little bit extra, considering everything else that I'm doing as well on the side. So who knows? We may do a live every once in a while, whenever I feel like it. I'm not really like a live sort of type, but nevertheless, I thought that I would let you all know. So the link for that is available in the show description if you guys want to sign up. And if you can, there's no pressure at all. It's just something extra in case you guys wanted it. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about this major lie, which I have, spoken about a number of times, the lie that Israel is controlling the US and that, Israel buys support from other countries. Like the US gives them money all the time, and through AIPAC, through whatever organization they want to throw out nowadays, it's perpetuated by the likes of Tucker, Candy, comedians like Dillon, which we'll be talking about today, and Andrew Schultz, people that just don't like Israel, peddle this narrative, and they don't really understand how much damage they do. And it's not just comedians, it's not just podcasters, there's also politicians like Marjorie Taylor Greene, for example. And she recently went on Megyn Kelly's podcast and perpetuated that lie even more about AIPAC. So it's highly intriguing to me why this lie gets spread quite rapidly. And well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? So they're more than happy, like Dillon, which we'll be talking about him today. He goes, well, Israel is buying support from the US, not to mention the fact that the US and Israel are allies and there's mutual benefit and mutual partnership there. No, it's Israel is blackmailing the US. Israel is controlling the US, and Israel is buying support from the US. Meanwhile, Dillon is actually being paid by the Saudis. Same with Andrew Schultz. Same with Tucker Carlson. Same with lots of these people that seemingly all of a sudden go vehemently against Israel and start peddling an anti-Israel kind of narrative. It usually means they're being paid off, or they just have a lot of hate in their heart. They don't really know the truth. Now, Ben Shapiro has made a brilliant reaction to comedian, you want to call him that, comedian Dillon, claiming that Israel is buying support while, you guessed it, he is actually being paid by the Saudis because he goes over there to do gigs. Have a watch of this.
It feels a little bit like we're doing this at the behest of billionaire Israeli donors. No? Yes? Perhaps?
Okay, so again, the theory here is that all of America's politics is from the shadows being run by AIPAC or Israeli billionaire donors, not sure who he's talking about there, or Jewish philanthropists, or whatever the case may be. That's really why Americans are pro-Israel, or why Trump is pro-Israel, or why Ted Cruz is pro-Israel, or all the rest. The reason I point this out is because if you are going to claim that money passing hands makes you a shill for the thing from which you are receiving the money, then I'm wondering precisely why Andrew Schultz and Dillon, among many, many, many others, are perfectly willing to go to Saudi Arabia for hundreds of thousands of dollars and perform for a regime that is responsible for a war in Yemen. By the way, Saudi losing the war with Yemen was actually quite a bad thing, or at least pulling out of areas that led the Houthis to be in charge. So I'm actually not even critiquing the Saudi war with Yemen. That was the Biden administration. But if you're going to be a war is always terrible, and the people who perpetuate the wars, they're evil. The only reason you'd be pro that is because you're getting paid. Let's just talk about Saudi Arabia and, the people who are paying people like Andrew Schultz and Dillon to arrive. So I asked our sponsors over at Comet, how many people were killed in Saudi Arabia's war with Yemen? Quote, Saudi Arabia's war with Yemen has resulted in an estimated 377,000 deaths as of 2021, with the majority caused by conflict-related famine, disease, and lack of health care. Roughly 150,000 deaths are directly attributed to military operations, including airstrikes and battles, many of which were led by the Saudi coalition. At least 15,000 civilians were killed by direct military action, especially airstrikes. The answer is actually probably much, much, much larger, by the way. If the logic is that Israel is bad because war is bad, then Saudi would be worse because war is bad. But no. I mean, I assume that Andrew Schultz, who considers himself a social liberal, and so does Tim Dillon, that they understand that same-sex activity is still criminal in Saudi Arabia and can be penalized by everything up to and including the death penalty, depending on the circumstances. That in rare circumstances, amputation for theft is still a penalty on the books, although lashes has become more common over there. That migrant workers are still routinely forced into a form of trafficking very much akin to slave labor. That actually it took until 1962 to abolish chattel slavery in Saudi Arabia. That there is no such thing as free speech in Saudi Arabia. That if you're wondering about free speech, like Saudi Arabia ain't famous for it. But apparently, you're allowed to take hundreds of thousands of dollars from the Saudi monarchy in order to, what? Perform comedy over there? Any critical words? Any critical words of the Saudi regime?
Seems a little bit hypocritical, doesn't it, to get up there and say, but Israel is buying support, where you're going over to literally the enemy, Saudi, Qatar. They started a war with Yemen. So yet you're saying that it's not right for Israel to start a war with the Hamas because they were the ones that started it, came over and killed the likes of 1,300 Israelis. You're saying that it's wrong for Israel to do that and that Israel is actually buying support, but you won't talk about Saudi Arabia, Yemen, that conflict. You're more than happy to take Saudi Arabia's money or Qatari money. It's easy for you guys to do that, but because it's apparently there's no difference for them. They don't see the hypocrisy. They don't see the double standard. They don't see any of that. All they seem to care about is the money. They don't really care about the value differences either. No, give me all that money and we'll continue to bash Israel because bashing Israel is very easy to do nowadays. Like, I think Ben hit the nail right on the head, which he usually does. I don't think he missed the mark on this one. I think he's hit it quite clear. People need to understand the hypocrisy that is going on. And when you see the hypocrisy that goes on, damn well right, call it out because it's absurd. If you claim to be, against Israel, which is exactly what Tim Dillon is doing, and claiming that they're buying support, maybe you should look at your own bank balance, or maybe you should look at what you're doing by going over there in the first place. A country that doesn't accept homosexuality, which maybe you should look at, Tim Dillon, considering you claim to be gay. So all these things, like you're being very disingenuous. You're not really aligning with anything. You're just living life as a liar, as it would seem. And you claim to be a comedian at that too. So Andrew Schultz is another one. Tucker is another one. There's many, many people that you'd go, well, something's not adding up. There's not really consistency here. What's going on? Maybe before they go opening up their mouths and attacking Israel and lying about Israel, maybe they should look at their own life and what they've been involved in. Maybe that would be a very good idea. I wonder. Just food for thought, okay, Tim? Perhaps. Because then you get people like Ben Shapiro that make little moments like this, which are actually brilliant, which then leaves me to go, well, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be a bunch of hypocrites. And yeah, Israel is the big baddie. When you look at everything that Saudi Arabia is really about, they're a cold case for, well, Sharia, not in all of its forms, but it's still Sharia that's going on over in Saudi Arabia because it's an Islamic country. And everyone's going, oh, but it's so nice being there. Tucker Carlson talking about how Sharia takes place over in Saudi Arabia or even in Qatar and it's safe, but they don't really talk about raping women because it's acceptable over in Saudi Arabia and in Qatar. So obviously you would feel safe, wouldn't you? But their ideals don't match up to yours, but yet you're getting into bed with those people. The Bible is quite clear. Don't be unequally yoked. It's not just talking about marriage. It's also talking about business, talking about just life in general, right? Because your values don't align. It's like you're going like this and you're trying to make it work. You're trying to go, come together, but it's not coming together. So therefore, actually, stop being disingenuous. I understand you're taking Qatari money and it's probably going to be beneficial for you, but at the end of the day, you're just going to be called out consistently for not being consistent and also for lying and hating on Israel. Anyway, that's enough from me, but you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.